Can we talk a little bit about Colorado USC?
Good Lord, man. So speaking as someone who locked up USC minus whatever,
Yes.
I made them part of my alt rock parlay. I lowered the line to 17.5. I'm thinking this is surefire, good to go. This is not going to lose. I've been taking L's on my bets all year. I took no more L's than I did this week. It was a bad week, and this game broke me. This game broke me. This is a show about honesty, Dan.
Yes.
First and foremost, college football second. This game broke me.
How so?
I was certain that USC was going to beat the brakes off of Colorado. And for at least a half, they did. And then they stopped playing defense. That is not to say they have played defense at all this season. They certainly didn't last year either. But there was at least a hope, some optimism in the college football universe that they had fixed some of the glitches, if only by transfer personnel coming in or new recruits coming in or whatever Alex Grinch saw on tape in the offseason. Apparently, that may not be the case. I saw our friend Bruce Feldman doing the halftime studio show on Fox, and his words, not mine. Quote, I don't know if USC is any better on defense. And I don't know if they are, Dan. In the first half of this game, it felt to me like this is going to be a runaway train in favor of USC. Caleb Williams had 4 touchdown passes. I don't think he broke a sweat. Nobody laid a glove on him in that first half. The Colorado defense was not a match for USC. We knew that would be the case. And frankly, they weren't a match for them the whole game. It's just what changed in the second half is a few tweaks here and there. And suddenly, Shadeur Sanders, suddenly Colorado was able to move the ball. And they were able to inch their way back in. I give them a ton of credit for being down really big in this game and finding a way to just stay pestery, stick around, give yourself a chance at an onside kick. I think they were right to point out on the broadcast, this team will learn from this. The fact that this team is still playing hard is a good sign for Coach Prime. So again, as weird as this universe is with Colorado, where they were getting destroyed, they came back, they sort of made it close at the very end, had a chance at an onside kick and didn't get it. Despite the fact that USC won, again,
it felt like a loss, kind of, right?
It was a win-loss. It's going to be portrayed as a win for Colorado with the way that they played down the stretch. I'll shut up now. Your turn to talk.
No, I think you nailed a lot of this. We talked a lot bit in the preview that, it's the weird early kick and how is USC going to respond when it's quite early their body time, and it's another early game for Colorado because it's the big noon game, and they came out sluggish like they did previously. And I think in this spot against Nebraska, right? That was the offensive line really struggled against Nebraska. I didn't think USC's defense, they weren't pacing anything really in that first half. I didn't think they were getting a ton of pressure, but it was an offense that is predicated, for better or worse, on Caleb Williams buying himself time, and instead of running for 18 yards, convincing himself that he should throw a 53-yard pass every play.
Yeah.
And he is awesome sometimes in spite of himself, and he is awesome sometimes because he's just awesome. And so Colorado is not the team to make him pay for that type of play a lot of the time. Washington might be, Oregon might be, Utah might be, Oregon. I don't know who else is on their schedule. I don't have it in front of me, but I know Notre Dame might be, of course, in the back half of their schedule. Colorado most certainly was not, but the USC defense, the clock hit midnight at halftime, oddly enough, and it was Colorado on the edges. It was Colorado getting play from Cormani McClain, the 5-star who really hadn't played this season until really this matchup. He was making plays. It was Omarion Miller. There was different guys stepping up. This was Travis Hunter on the sideline still, of course, not playing in this game. And so, I'm not heaping all sorts of praise on a team who gave up all the points and yardage that Colorado did, but you learn a little bit about everybody every week. And I think we learned a lot about USC's defense this week and the play-to-play care or lack thereof they had in the second half.
31 second half points for Colorado.
Yeah.
to come back, in my case, to cover the spread, and should change that narrative. The narrative is important. The narrative is what we take with us from week to week. We would have been talking about how Colorado is not ready to play the top teams in the Pac-12 or the top teams in college football, how they're a work in progress. They still are
Right.
very much a work in progress, but instead we're going to be talking about the heart that they showed and unfortunately USC's defense or lack thereof.
Right. And it's also, honestly, to criticize Colorado, these are the same players that they were running on and throwing over and past whatever in
Yeah.
the second half, in the first half. And it's another week where Colorado comes out sluggish, right? They could have made plays. There were plays to be had in that first half. And that's the disappointing thing, I think, if you're a Colorado fan. And good for USC for jumping out like that when they could have been tired, when it could have just been a flat environment. But Folsom Field, I think, brings out the best in a lot of teams, and obviously the high profile nature of Coach Prime. So USC came ready to play. They just came ready to play like 2.5 quarters.
Yeah.
Like the old, remember we made all those Michigan State jokes way back when with Mark D'Antonio, best 3-quarter team in the nation, and then they just fade. And
Yeah.
so there's some shades of that with USC, but look, win your clunkers. Wins are better than losses.